What's going on, my exotic family? It's your boy Dre. Welcome back to the channel. We got a lot of questions asking about my Burmese Python zoo, so we're going to be talking about Burmese Pythons. How big do they get? What is their care like? How is it taking care of one? And ultimately, are they right for you? Stay tuned to find out. Alrighty everybody, so welcome back to the video. I'm here with my Burmese Python. This is Zeus. Zeus is my granite Burmese Python. And like I said, we're going to be talking care for these guys and are they the right pet for you? Ultimately, I'm just going to jump right out there and say if you can't handle a big snake, this is definitely not the snake for you. This is one of the largest snakes in the world and they can get up to 200 pounds. So that is the number one thing to keep in mind, as well as we'll do this video kind of a little unorthodox today. Usually I go in kind of a specific order talking about housing and husbandry and everything like that, but since I just mentioned size, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into how you have to deal with these guys when what they eat when they get bigger. I mean, like I said, these guys can get up to 200 pounds. They're gonna want big meals. And a lot of people I know have pet rabbits, but rabbits are gonna be a natural part of something that these guys eat as adults. It's not something you have to do. But when you have a 13, 14, 15 foot plus snake, rats just won't do. So you're gonna have to find another protein source that'll be able to fill them up for longer so you don't have to feed them as often. All right, so Zeus here is just over a year old. I got him as a hatchling. I mean, he was pretty small. I want to say, I'll put a picture of him up here. But when I got him, I believe he was like 6 months old. And I mean, he's just over a year now and dude's almost 5 foot. So that should give you an idea of exactly how fast sperms grow. Completely different versus boas. You know, boas they grow at a very much slower rate versus Burmese pythons. I mean, they sprout like crazy, it's one of those things where most people, even I've done it, I'll get a snake and then I'm like, okay, I have time to upgrade them. Burmese pythons, you literally don't, because they grow so fast. So I'm actually in the middle of building a bigger snake rack for him and the other snakes in my current snake rack because I don't have the room to do the full enclosures, but I want to do something in between. That way it can just, you know, hold them off until at least I move next spring. So like I said, these guys get huge, so we'll touch on size. With these guys getting so big, they're gonna need nothing less than an 8 foot enclosure at full size. That is a huge enclosure. I know 8 feet doesn't sound like a lot, but when you factor in not only the length, you have to factor in the width and the height as well. So the smallest recommended cage for these guys is going to be 8 by 4 by 4. He's a male, so he won't get quite as huge as females. Females are the ones that are going to reach closer to that 20-foot mark, but nonetheless, males are still no small snake. Males can still reach a maximum of up to 10 to 12 feet. So, like I said, if you are on the market for a big snake but can't handle anything that big, I would definitely look into maybe getting some type of boa constrictor that gets big but not quite as big as these guys. Now, as far as their temperament, these guys are known to have a way better temperament than, let's say, like a retic. But like I keep saying in my videos, there's an exception to every rule. When I got this guy as a baby, he was very snippy and he would definitely strike and hiss. Now he's just very vocal, but as you can see, I can definitely handle him. I had him around my neck and he does pretty well. I really didn't put in too much work. I use a snake hook with this guy just to grab him out and he does very, very well. With this guy getting so big, I definitely want to make sure that he has a great disposition. So the days I don't feed him, I make sure I handle him because he's gonna get huge. And regardless of if your snake is, you know, your big snake is friendly or not, you still want to have more than one person assist you in the room when you have one of these guys out. However, I just want to make it as easy as possible on myself so I don't have to worry about him striking or thinking I'm food. So I try to habituate him to handling as much as possible. As you can see here, he does fine. I can rub his chin and he's very friendly. Oh, look at that freeze frame right there. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind. But other than that, they're very easy to handle once they're this size. Once they reach that, you know, 8 foot plus range, you definitely want to start being on the lookout for signs. And you definitely want to be able to read your snake. You want to read all of your snakes, but I'm really emphasizing this because these guys can be dangerous. I'm not going to beat around the bush. We all love snakes. We all love the reptiles, and they are great snakes. However, owning a reptile is also knowing what that reptile is capable of. So if you get a reptile and you don't know what it's capable of because of what you're used to, then you're not really prepared to own that particular reptile. So yes, they make great pets for people that can handle them. Yes, they usually have a great disposition. However, still be aware of what they're capable of. Never get too comfortable. That's just to keep you and yourself safe. And also, if you live with people that aren't too fond of these guys, you want to make sure that by no means that they can get out. So back to the enclosure. When you build that enclosure, you definitely want to make sure that it is a very secure enclosure. I've seen people keep these in glass enclosures, and they put, they do the old-fashioned way where they put books on top of the screen cage. Cut that out. It's not going to work. A 200+ pound snake is going to have a lot of muscle. Snakes in general have a lot of muscle, so you have to make sure that you are securing them the right way. Like I said, he's in a tub right now. My rack has locks on it. When I get him his bigger enclosure, it's going to have locks on it as well, because he is going to be my biggest snake. And the last thing that I want loose in my house is a 12-foot snake. I don't even want any of my smaller snakes out, but we've all had that moment where we walk into our room and then your heart drops because you see an enclosure open. That is the worst feeling ever. I just prevent it at all cost. So once you get the enclosure and everything built, you have to make sure that you can heat the enclosure. These guys do like a basking spot at right around 85 to 90 and the ambient right around 80 to 85. So I keep my reptile rack right at 86 for the hot spot. As adults, when he gets older, I'll raise it. Obviously they have a bigger body to cover, so I'll raise it to right around 90. And then you want to make sure that they always have fresh water, just like any other reptile. And then they do fine. Right now he is eating every 2 weeks for me, and as you can see, he's growing very well. He is on small rats, and the way he's growing, he'll be on medium rats in no time. So as far as do these guys make good pets for someone like you, that is going to be something that ultimately you can answer. All I can do is give you the information and my point of view and my experience. However, it is up to you to do your research and to make sure that you can successfully care for one of these guys long term. Don't forget, reptiles can live 20+ years, so that is a long-term commitment. So you have to make sure that you can handle them, and it's not just getting the snake and throwing rats and mice in there and feeding it. Yes, they'll grow. However, do they have enrichment? Are you able to pull them out their enclosure and then fully stretch out safely? Those are common factors that you want to keep in mind. That's the whole point of captivity. You want to give them the best life possible where they don't have to have those fears that they would naturally have in the wild. So I think that's a big mistake a lot of people have when they get snakes like this, and just big snakes in general, even retics. You'll see a lot of people get them, they don't realize how fast they grow, and then next thing you know, you have a snake that's being rehomed, it's on Craigslist or whatever. People, please do your research before getting any reptile, especially these big ones. These big ones are going to need a lot more care because they get bigger, so they're going to require a lot more of your attention. So like I said, if that's something you can handle, then yes, most definitely this may be the snake for you. But as always, do your research. Do research on top of research. Do research until you're ready and you feel like you can handle one. As babies, these guys can start off in like a 20-gallon long. Like I said, I started mine off in a 28-quart tub, and he has done perfectly fine. And the thing I like about them is they're very active snakes. For them to be so, well, as they get bigger, they're not as active, but him being, this size, almost 2 years old, he's very active. And I mean, my ball python is 3 years old and he's almost double the size, and he's 1. So like I said, that's going to give you a perspective on how fast these guys actually grow, but they are very active snakes, so just keep that in mind. Although snakes in general aren't too fond of being handled, they do tolerate it. Just make sure you socialize your animal. Make sure that these guys know you, because the last thing you want is a 13-15 foot snake striking at you. Hell, I don't want a 4-foot snake striking at me, but I'd rather deal with that than deal with a monster. Alrighty guys, so that is all I have for you for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoy seeing Zeus here. I don't bring him out too often, but he has grown to be a very handleable, very good snake, and I'm definitely looking forward to him getting bigger. Make sure you hit that subscribe button just so you can make sure you see all my videos, of course. Follow me on Instagram at DW Exotics. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. I upload every Monday and Thursday, 11 a.m. As always, stay exotic.